Good. All right. Good evening. I would like to call to order the meeting for the Board of Library Trustees for this Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell?
Here.
Trustee Gala is currently not here. Trustee Kelly?
Here.
Trustee McLean?
Here.
Trustee Meadow?
Here.
Trustee Watts? Here. President Samari?
Here. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any public comment? No public comment, no public attendees. How about liaison reports?
You have one thing from, well, I have a report from the foundation. Let's see, foundation is in full swing. We are working in several areas to bring home the final dollars toward our $150,000 bookmobile donation. Annual appeal letters noting our final push are going out around the 1st of November. We're selling our ornaments at the OBO event on October 28th, and we have a display at the senior center as well as at the main library. New interactive items have been ordered for Kids World, thanks to a generous donation from Pat and Nancy Maroney. Their fall advisory event is this week, and they're reviewing their 2026 budget at the November meeting. Development is working on the bones for the International Women's event in March. More details to come on that. Marketing is working to develop a new general brochure that will be available, hopefully after the first of the year. The scholarship committee made a couple of updates to their application and rubrics for the coming year, and applications will be available on or about April 1st. So that is everything from the foundation.
Wonderful.
And I do not have a report from the friends.
Okay, I noticed signage, they have, their next sale is the first weekend, well, not Halloween weekend, the next weekend.
Right, I think it's the first weekend in November.
Yeah, first full weekend. Very good. All right. Looking to approve the minutes for the regular board meeting from September 16th, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, all right, so the motion was made by trustee Watts and it was seconded by trustee Burrell. All in favor? Aye. All right, how about approval or review of the committee of the whole meeting on October 6th? So moved. All right, I have a motion by trustee Kelly, seconded by trustee McLean. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. How about a review of the financial report?
Okay, real estate tax revenue totaled $16,301.54 for the month of September. Copier printer revenue totaled $3,913.38. Collection fees for late items were $80. Lost item charges totaled $1,029.52. September interest income was $13,261.74. Donations totaled $42.43. The year-to-date total reflects the use of deferred donations recognized in conjunction with the bookmobile expenditures this year. So if you're looking at the donation line, that's included in there. Friends of the Library reimbursed us $15,194.11. Revenue collected for vehicle stickers totaled $441. Makerspace miscellaneous revenue was $581.12. Other income was $653.07, and the total revenue collected for September was $51,397.91. For the expenses, we are 75% of the way through the fiscal year, and we've expensed 73% of our total operating budget. The favorable variance to date is $401,496. We do expect to end the year favorable to budget on the expense side, but we may end up the year either flat or slightly negative as compared to revenue. There was a question about the property line. So the property line, as described in the financials, represents furniture, fixtures, and equipment that do not necessarily arise to the level of a capital asset under the threshold in our policy, but are still segregated for reporting purposes in operating results. An example would be an office chair, shelving, or storage, or contingency for a building repair. As of September 30th, the IT department has spent 105% of year-to-date budget and 78% of their full year 2025 budget. Some lines appear overspent at the September 30th mark because they are seasonal. For example, equipment maintenance is overspent as a percentage of year-to-date budget because of the invoice from our innovative system, which is our large patron database. And that's paid at the beginning of the year for our software, the hosting and support. This makes up the bulk of the expenses in this account, so it's always heavily front-loaded. The account will end up at the end of the year at or under budget. Software library, on the other hand, is overspent due to an unexpected cost to shore up phone system licenses prior to the phone system upgrade project that was completed this year. Finally, small tools and equipment is negative on a month-to-date basis because of reclassing expense to the correct account, making it correct for the year-to-date basis. 49% of the total annual capital budget has been expensed as of September. Interior renovations are in progress. As a reminder, this came from another question that we had. The servers project from the IT capital line appears $8,000 over budget on the capital side of the dashboard because the split between the operating and capital in the budget for the project was slightly off. So we under budgeted on the capital portion and we over budgeted on the operating portion. Specifically in the account 60102005 that can be seen at the bottom of page 7 of the expenditure report. In total, the actual cost of the project was exactly as budgeted, and IT expenses in this account for the operating fund are under budget to offset this difference exactly. And year to date, we've had 19,801 volunteer hours, which equates to 10.15 full-time equivalents. At this time last year, we had 18,012 volunteer hours, or 9.24 full-time equivalents. That is everything I have from the financial report.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? My only comment, not really a question, is it just feels like we're not getting the taxes that we are owed, that we budget for. If we're at 52% now, the first tax bill is 55% of property tax owners. So that tells me that we're probably going to be under in that area. And it seems to happen every year. Like I looked at the last 5 years and it only didn't happen once. So I don't know what we can do about that, but it's just something to think about. Like, I don't know if there's somewhere else that we could put a line item, but I know with accounting procedures and audit standards, maybe you just can't do that. But anyway, it's
And
just kind of an observation.
yeah, the loss and cost tax is supposed to help offset that.
Right, but it's not even working, even though that's another 2%.
Yeah, so the village did increase it, I think it was last year, or the year before.
2 years
2
ago.
years ago.
Mhm.
And I know we did talk with them again, and as of right now, they feel they want to hold it. So they are looking at that and they'll.
I mean, it must affect them as well,
Yeah.
obviously, but they have a few other revenue streams and this is our big revenue stream. So it's just something to sort of keep in mind, I think.
Tracy, did you want to add anything else or?
Nothing besides what you said, yeah, we did raise it to
Yeah.
the village and they're doing an analysis looking at it, but are not changing it at this time.
Okay. All right, very good. All right. Moving on to review the check register.
I have a few checks here to go over. On page 2, check 104922 to HML. That's American Express. It is a credit for the amount of $89.14. That's cash back related to our American Express corporate cards. We record this monthly cashback incentive as general and other income. It fully offsets the annual fees we pay on these cards. And any excess is not designated for any specific use, similar to how we do vehicle sticker revenue, which just goes into income. On page 3, check 104921 and 104922 to HML. Also, that's American Express. It's various amounts. That's airfare and net hotel bookings for the Adobe Max conference in LA coming up. Or I'm sorry, that's Louisiana coming up in the end of this month. Brian Benson, our graphic supervisor, will attend this annual creativity conference, which features sessions, keynotes, and labs on topics like graphic design, illustration, photography, video, and 3D. On page 4, check 105041 to Thomas Interior Systems in the amount of $1,550.55. That's furniture parts to complete partitions for our Kids World office. Page 7, check 105013 to Northwest Community Hospital, in the amount of $45. That's for drug screening. This is not for pre-employment, but rather for random screening of CDL drivers for the mobile. That's determined by the Department of Labor Consortium we participate in that tracks our compliance. On page 11, check 105005 to M&J Technologies Direct for various amounts. That's for Office 365 subscriptions. These are non-sequential months due to IT truing up certain months' invoices after reviewing the account balance, just to bring them all in line. On page 13, check 104957 to Facility Gateway Corporation in the amount of $2,125.15. That is our UPS maintenance contract. The UPS is a critical system in our IT infrastructure. All the power to the servers is conditioned by the UPS, which also provides battery backup in case of a power loss. The UPS provides power until the generator starts. The maintenance involves checking all components of the UPS system to make sure that it's operating to specification. If an issue is detected, the service agreement provides repair to keep the unit in top shape.
Okay, that was my question. Too many acronyms. I thought it was either the postal service or
Oh,
UPS.
okay, all right.
Delivery. Since I'm not an IT gal, all right, good to know. Thank
So
you.
yeah, not delivery.
No, okay, or postal service.
Right,
Uninterrupted power supply.
there you go.
Ah, there we
Stands
go.
for.
Thank you.
Then on page 15, check 105023, Rainmakers Irrigation and Maintenance in the amount of $525. That's winterization of our lawn sprinkler system. This is the process of using compressed air to remove all the water from the line so they don't freeze over the winter. And on page 46 and 47, check 104926 to Baker and Taylor. This is just kind of bring up Baker and Taylor. If you haven't heard, Baker and Taylor is one of the main vendors that we purchase books from. They are going to be closing their doors. And this is just to address that. We should not see a significant impact on the library budget because our collection services group, noticing service issues with Baker and Taylor, has worked hard over the past few months to cancel items for Baker and Taylor in order elsewhere. So they have been kind of working on this for a long time to move things over to other vendors. So we shouldn't see any sort of significant impact on the budget or service really for that. On page 48, check 104949 to Demco in the amount of $1,979.70. That is for book jacket cover material, which is clear material used to cover all of our hardcover books in the library's collection. And then on page 55, we had a couple of different things for the Maker Place. Let's see. Oh, this was for items that we sell. So Maker Place items do not include maintenance fees in their selling costs, but rather are priced at cost plus a 10% tax, 3% inflation, and rounded up to the nearest 25 cents. So there was a question about how we're reselling items. That's our margin there. All prices are approved by myself. So whenever we start selling a new item, we just kind of review the pricing and agree upon what we price that at. And there was a question about the credit cards being updated from the ones that keep getting fraudulent charges. We have not made that change yet. It is on our radar, but we've not moved those yet. That is everything I have for the check register. Anybody else have any other questions?
Hey, well, our treasurer is not here tonight, but I would like a motion to pay our check register.
I'll make the motion that we approve the check register for September 30th, 2025 in the amount of $1,519,818.87.
All right, that motion was made by trustee Meadow and seconded by trustee Watts. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell? Yes. Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee McLean?
Yes.
Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Watts? Yes. President Smith?
Aye. Thank you. All right, executive director's report.
Hey, that's some exciting stuff to highlight this month. Right on the front page there, one deal.
I opened it up, like, oh, Joe.
Like, where is that at? When you thought it was, like, it was just in my packet.
So congrats on the cover photo. On September 27th, the library welcomed over 200 guests for our One Book, One Gala, a special after-hours event inspired by New York City's iconic Met Gala. The celebration was designed to reflect one of the key settings in this year's One Book, One Village selection, The Stolen Queen by New York Times bestselling author Fiona Davis. It marked the second gala in the library's history, with the first one being the Fairy Tale and Fantasy Gala held in 2016. I want to say special thanks to the planning team, our programs and exhibits, Nikki, Jennifer, and Neil, Readers Advisor Danielle, Maker Place Advisor Lisa, and Communications and Marketing Specialist Mary Liz. They collaborated for months to conceive this plan and implement the event. So I hope you enjoyed the evening. All you that attended, thank you for going. Then on page 3, is to highlight some of the virtual and offsite programs that we had during construction. So last month's One Book, One Village programming brought ancient Egypt vividly to life through a compelling series of virtual programs, including Building the Pyramids with 88 attendees, featuring Dr. Foy Skalf from the University of Chicago, who presented new archaeological findings in Giza, Reflections of Egypt, a shared history in humanity, with diplomat Andrea Kulian, sharing firsthand exploration from her visits to Egypt, teaching and curating ancient Egypt with empathy and care, with 48 attendees, featuring Dr. Jen Thum of the Harvard Art Museums, and Armchair Archaeology, where attendees learn how to explore and research ancient archaeology sites and digs from the comfort of their own home. And then this year marked the library's first time partnering with Koshal, bringing new audiences to the beautiful space. Programs and exhibit specialist Neil welcomed 2 outstanding presenters, Associate Curator of Ancient Egyptian Art at the Art Institute of Chicago, Dr. Ashley Erico, who presented on how Chicago's major museums have shaped public understanding of ancient Egypt, and celebrated the architectural critic and historian Lee Bay joined us to explore the legacy of Egyptian revival architecture across the city. And a couple of highlights of our staff at the bottom of that page there. Programs and exhibit specialist Neil and co-services coordinator Sherry presented the library's 2025 One Book, One Village title, The Stolen Queen, to the Village of Arlington Heights trustees and mayor at their September board meeting. The annual opportunity elevates the visibility of the library's community read initiative, the work of the talented library staff, and strengthens the library's partnership with the village. And our info services manager, Joe Lee, was accepted into the Public Library Association's Leadership Academy. She's one of 28 nationwide professionals who were selected to participate in this dynamic event that includes 4 days of interactive education and networking. Okay, the next page. Our summer reading concludes with huge community participation. So for youth, over 3,600 babies, toddlers, kids, tweens, and teens signed up for summer reading at the library. This annual program runs from June through July, with additional challenges in August. This year, 42% of readers reached 30 days of reading to complete the program, up from 30% the previous year. Participants who reached 30 days of reading were able to select a book prize funded by the Friends of the Library. Another 501 readers continued on to reach 60 days of reading. There was a question of what did we do differently this year? There were a couple of factors in that. One is the refresh space draws people in and keeps them coming back. We had a variety of activities that engaged the kids and therefore allowed staff to build relationships with the parents and families. And then our team volunteers greeted the visitors as they came in and engaged with them to bring them back. Plus, we did some additional promotion. So it's nice to see that the numbers increased so much. Then in the adult section, to celebrate the community's 792,714 minutes of reading during the summer reading program for adults, the library hosted a party for 29 attendees at the History Museum Lawn. The purpose of the celebration was to bring together participants that joined this year's program and to provide another opportunity to earn a prize and mingle with fellow readers. All right, then on page 5, the Maker Place celebrated its 4th anniversary. We did that with a well-attended event, open house, drawing over 500 attendees, more than double the previous year's turnout. Over 100 of the attendees visited for the first time. All Maker Place staff participated, supported by 4 volunteers. The library's communication and marketing team played a key role in boosting attendance with social media posts, e-blasts, and signage. The Mini Maker Fair style event showcased 6 community makers presenting projects in pottery, laser cutting, woodworking, crochet, and unique penny covered resin floor project. Interactive stations like the Turn Yourself into a Sticker booth, where staff printed around 150 personalized stickers. We had 3D printing demos featuring Egypt-themed designs tied to this year's One Book, One Village. We had a community art project led by Makerspace specialist Kate, resulting in a pixel mosaic of the Makerplace robot mascot, utilizing approximately 500 stickers. Chef Brian's cooking demo featured goat cheese crostini and apple cider donuts, which was a crowd favorite. And our senior accessible services manager, Katie, showcased 3D printed assistive tools generating community interest and sales. Right, then, the next page. Just want to highlight, we do the partnership with Illinois State Treasurer's Office and bring in the iCash team. I wanted to just kind of give a summary of that. So they helped 15 customers find unclaimed property totaling over $50,000. So our info services librarian Barb collaborated with iCash to visit the library as part of the monthly resource hour. Due to the success of the program, iCash will visit the library again in December and then quarterly in 2026. So our residents they get their money's worth.
That's real money.
That's right.
Yes.
No doubt. Okay, then at the bottom of the page, September was one of the Makerplace's busiest months ever, filled with engaging classes ranging from popular introductory sessions to exciting new offerings, such as natural soap making, which filled instantly when Winter Station opened and had a wait list of over 100 people by mid-month. So this was the first time that we were hosting this program, the soap program. There was a question about how we handle programs when they're that successful. And we will then either work with that presenter to schedule another one of those programs, or we will replicate that program with our own staff internally to continue on. Okay. Then I wanted to highlight on page 7 that there was power outage at the Makerplace on Tuesday in September, just 15 minutes before the Makerplace opened. ComEd estimated that the power would be restored in about 2 hours, and rather than lock the doors and turn customers away, our Makerplace branch assistant manager, Chris, along with the Makerplace advisors, Michael and Esther and Chef Brian, set up a button pop-up station outside the Makerplace. So they made buttons with customers who had arrived to use the Makerplace. Chris coordinated with the library's call center to reschedule customers' appointments while they engaged button making activities. There was a question about that, if we have like a formal procedure when power does go out. We do have a formal procedure for the main library and also the Makerplace, where we'll kind of close the building if it stays out for a certain period of time. But we don't have a formal process for how to be awesome in those situations. The staff just do that. So, so I thought that was just really cool that the staff kind of thought on their feet and didn't want to turn staff or customers away and provided something for them. So that is everything that I was going to mention in the director's report. Anybody have any questions or want to highlight anything that I didn't?
No, but I can attest that the donuts were the highlight of the Makerplace thing. Connected that part. It was a really great event.
Good to hear.
I mean, I'm always impressed by how many different places in the community we reach. And looking at the Department of Planning and Community Development, having a business event it made me think of the fact that I know we have for the past couple of years put in our budget having rentals of the Makerplace, and I'm wondering if that group or one of the local business groups might be a good list to tap to market that for holiday. I mean, it could be a bonding thing where you make something in the Makerplace with your small staff or just, a cocktail party or whatever. It feels like December might be a really nice time to get, our first rental. And
We have had a few rentals.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
and so people are taking notice of that.
yeah,
And that, Dana, do you want to speak to that at all?
Wait, so I was with someone who was at the Met Gala and said that they were interested in renting it for like making the cookie thing, but
yeah,
we have had some interest,
Yeah.
I think even some Girl Scouts.
Yeah, I
Troops have
remember
reached
that.
out
Yeah.
recently to host some things, but not a ton.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
just
it
feels like a good, some good groups to market to, and, you know, people don't, I don't think, do as big of holiday celebrations as they used to, so maybe like a team bonding thing. I mean, there's such, fun stuff that a group of people could do together, and I think it would be new for many people, some people, I don't know. I just thought of it when I read that, and when I was looking at the budget, thinking like, how can we generate more revenue? And I love that they did, you know, when the electricity went out, mine went out that day too. And I feel like on a day like that, people do go to the park, either with little kids or to walk your dog or whatever. And being right across from Rec Park, you know, having people out there doing something, I think is kind of enticing and very creative. So,
Yes.
all right, thank you. All right, it sounds like we have a presentation.
Yes, we do. So Carrie Bailey from Youth Services Department is going to talk to us about tween services. My apologies for the misspelling in there. I just need a minute here, Carrie, to get you.
Great, so I am Carrie Bailey, I'm our teen librarian, and I'm so excited to speak to you tonight. Thank you for your time and for having me here. Throughout this year, you've been hearing from different youth services staff, and we're starting to see this continuum of services we're providing for babies through high schoolers and then their parents and caregivers as well. In April, which was quite a while ago, you heard from Ellie, our kids librarian, and she spoke to you about our services for kindergarten through third grade. So I'm gonna kind of pick up where she left off and talk about our services for fourth, fifth, and sixth graders or tweens. So who are tweens? They are not little kids anymore, but they're not quite teenagers. And sometimes that word gets confused, tween and teen, but they're distinct groups. They are going through a time of rapid physical and cognitive growth. They're developing their sense of self and personal values, and they're also kind of starting to figure out who they are apart from their parents. They're also, at the same time, their peers are becoming more central to their lives, and these social connections that they're building are really important and healthy for their development. And through these connections and relationships that they're building outside of their home, they're building their identity and their confidence. So I wanted to provide a little bit of context and give you this developmental asset framework. So this is from the Search Institute, which is a nonprofit research institution. And through decades of research, they have found that there are building blocks for healthy development in young people. And they've kind of narrowed down this list of 40 assets in all of these categories. There's two types. There's external and internal. So those external assets are relationships and opportunities that teens need from their families, their schools, and their communities. And then there's also internal assets, which are more social and emotional skills and values. So the external assets are supports, empowerment, boundaries, constructive use of time. And then those internal assets are a commitment to learning, positive values, and social competencies and positive identity. So I'm going to try to show how our library services and staff and programs, we are working to build some of these assets at this really important time in development for tweens. So how are we doing that? We are giving them a space and opportunities to practice independence. Our programs are giving them a chance to explore new interests and gain skills. We are providing really positive experiences around books and reading to help them continue a love of reading. We're also helping them through all of these things and more build a positive identity. So I wanted to talk first about our tween space. So here's a little throwback. This is 2019, where we like carved out a little corner. This is like starting to take shape. and then to where we are today. So now we're almost coming up on 2 years of our tween space. But we've come a long way. And this tween space is so important, in so many ways because it's showing these tweens that they're valued by our community. We're giving them this space and, they're using it well. They have a chance to practice autonomy in this space because it's just for fourth and sixth graders. Their little siblings aren't allowed. Their grown-ups are supposed to kind of take a step back and hang on the comfortable chairs right over there and give them just a little space to explore on their own and practice those skills in a really safe environment. It's also a space of self-expression. We've got our art wire up here. They can submit artwork. And I put up every single thing that is submitted, whether it's just a scratch on a piece of paper or some of these lovely pieces of art. And I change that out every month or even more if there's more submissions than I can fit on the line. And we're also showing them through this space and the art display that the things that they make have value and we value that. It also gives them kind of a sense of ownership over this space. They can do all kinds of things here. They can play video games and board games, hang out with friends, work on projects, hang out at our maker table, which is kind of the center of this space. It has 15 drawers filled with every craft supply imaginable, as well as some STEM building toys. And they use it and they're making incredible things all the time. In the center, this is like an entire, you might not know what you're looking at, but I'll let you know, it is a gymnastics floor. So this is the Summer Olympics. They've got, a ball pit, which maybe isn't the Olympics, but it's a lot of fun. They're just using simple materials and like creating all different things while they're in this space, which is so cool. It's kind of the maker table itself is, Ellie had spoke about our tinker cart, so this is kind of the grown-up version of that. And it also funded by the Maroney family and the foundation. They provided this and continuing that legacy of tinkering and building. That's all happening here. They're building those executive functioning skills, like making a plan, figuring out how I have to execute that plan and all the steps I need to take to make a gymnastics floor or a cool Connects tower. And they are clearly having fun while they're doing it too. Also, tweens are a time when they are starting to get involved in a lot of activities. So their schedule is getting busier. They might not be able to come to all of our like regular scheduled programs. So the fact that the tween space is there and open and available all the time can kind of reach them when they are available and anytime they visit the library, which is great. So part of this practicing independence is also building these life skills. One of the life skills that has kind of always been a part of tween programming is culinary skills. So much learning is happening when we're cooking, right? There's literacy involved in reading the recipe, there's math involved in measuring, and we're building this really foundational life skill. And so these are, again, some throwback pictures before we had our lovely kitchen, and now that we have our kitchen, we can do so much more. When tweens are in the kitchen, when they learn to make something for themselves, they're gaining confidence in their ability to care for themselves. On some level, they're all, even if we're not like directly talking about every time, they're also learning some nutritional skills, like seeing the food that goes into the food that they're making, which can help them make some better choices with food in the future too. And the results are so tangible and immediate that when they're learning to crack an egg or knead bread or knead dough, they're growing their self-esteem and they're getting these really tangible results. They're building their confidence in their own abilities. This one person who's building over here, making a little apple hand pie. She's told me since then, this was a couple years ago, that she has made this for like every special occasion for her family. So she's so proud. She learned this skill and then she's sharing it with her friends and family all the time, which is great. And we're building other skills too. We are hand sewing. We're kind of learning like mindfulness and self-care. We're doing digital literacy. We're building maker skills, the basic maker skills, so that when these tweens are a little bit older, they can use the maker place independently. They'll know how to use the basics of using the sewing machine or using the Cricut. So we're doing all of those things through our many programs. And we're doing so much more through our programs because tweens are still figuring out like who they are and what they're interested in. They want to try different things to kind of figure out where their path is. So from podcasting to 3D printing pens to cookie decorating. So this was an introduction to AI program, to building their own video games, to crochet, to coding in circuits, to making faux stained glass. We have just a really wide array of programs throughout the year. All of these programs are hands-on experiential learning. They're learning by doing throughout all of these programs. And one thing I wanted to highlight, kind of like my, I guess, like philosophy behind the programs is that all of our tween programs are creating a space where they can all be successful. In this program, they all attended the same program. So it was like a watercolor technique program. And clearly very different results. We give them a lot of choice in everything that we do. Like we're gonna give you the tools, the outline, the information, the, you know, build the skills, show you the techniques, and then we're gonna let you make a choice. Like, what are you interested in? How do you want to pursue this for your project? But no matter what, they are clearly very proud of what they made. And when they make something and they learn something new and they make something that they're proud of, they're really just like growing their own self-esteem. And it's just a really awesome thing that they can be successful in their own way. So we're doing so many things through programs. And another area of focus is cultivating a love of reading. This is a really important time in a tween's life. So according to the most recent Scholastic Kids and Family Reading Report, tweens are entering an age when reading for enjoyment starts to decline. So like in our chart on the left, we see 70% of kids ages 6 to 8 love reading. And then that starts to shrink a little bit. So at age 9 to 11, only 61%, and it's shrinking further into our teen years. Same with the frequency. So 46% of kiddos ages 6 to 8 are reading almost every day, and that number is shrinking. Only 32% of tweens ages 9 to 11 are reading almost every day. So this is kind of a time in their life where they're getting busier, they're competing for other things in their lives. So reading maybe isn't taking, it's kind of on the back burner a little bit, but we want to create really fun and positive experiences around reading to keep them reading and keep them reading for fun. So we're doing that in a couple different ways. One way is through our reading programs, which you're familiar with, for summer and winter reading. We also have a year-round reading program just for this age group and teens. So our 100 books before high school program is for 4th through 8th graders, so tweens and teens there. And we are challenging them to read 100 books over those 4 years, which for some kids is a breeze, and some other kids that is a really big challenge, but we're giving them some cool prizes along the way, thanks to friends in the library. And we're trying to incentivize them to keep reading, keep choosing the books that they want to read, and keep reading for fun. We're also, you know, building the relationship, getting to know these kids throughout their reading journey, and trying for staff to be a great resource for reading recommendations throughout their reading journey. And one way we do that is through our Tween Lit Crates, which is a subscription service that is available for adults as well as teens at the library, but we have one especially for tweens. This is open quarterly, and participants complete a survey telling us all about their reading interests, and then we spend a long time really thoughtfully selecting a book that we think is going to be a perfect book for them, to motivate them to be excited about that book and to read a book for fun. And they have a little feedback survey that they have in every crate, and we get some really positive feedback all the time. Like Kavya said, I positively loved Winter House. It probably went into the top 3 best series of books I've read. I mean, that's pretty great. Eve said, I really liked this book. Can I have more light for Burning Fountain? Along with their book, they get a few themed goodies too, which I think adds to the excitement. And when they check out the book, they're just checking out there's like a little tag attached to the barcode, so everything's a surprise. They don't know what the book is until they open the crate at home. So we're really building that excitement and anticipation through this service. We're also building a community of readers. We have a Green Book Club called Books and Bites, and these book clubs are never boring, I will tell you that. So on the left, we've got some crime scene investigation happening when we were reading a mystery book. We did some minute-to-minute fast-paced games when we were reading about a Rubik's Cube champion. And it's called Books and Bites. So we, of course, always have themed snacks as well. But this is not a cupcake we purchased. Creating the cupcake was part of the activity, part of the program. So we just had plain cupcakes and a whole bunch of chocolate pieces. And they created these really adorable otter cakes from the book Otter. So we're building that community of readers, focusing on fun, and their choice in reading the books that they want, and just trying to keep them to love reading. So finally, I'm going to talk about how we are building positive identity. And I wanted to focus specifically on our tween advisory group. So that is our volunteer group for this age group. We've got a variety of volunteer groups for tweens and teens, but this one is for our 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. And they do a lot of things for the library. So over here on the left, we've got Molly and Mercy. They're helping at Halloween Fun. That's coming up very soon it's one of our biggest programs and youth services where we see hundreds of people come through. They go to different stations throughout the library, throughout Kids World, doing crafts and activities. And for our afternoon session, all of our tag volunteers kind of staff each station and they love it. They have so much fun. They're so excited. And they're all going to be helping again this coming year. Up on the top right, we made reusable tablecloths out of canvas. They painted them, and then this is something that we use in youth services and other departments borrow it as well, in place of plastic tablecloths. So sustainability and helping the environment was an important issue for the group that year. So that was a project we continued to support their interests. Also, if you came through Kids World last winter, you might have seen some beautiful jellyfish hanging from the ceiling in the tween space. And those are all made by our tween advisory group. So they're working on projects throughout the year to contribute to things happening at the library. They get to vote on the projects that we do pursue each year. So they have a lot of inputs. They also give feedback they vote on the programs that we do, what we can add to the tween space, all kinds of things. They're really having their voice heard and showing that they have a powered purpose through the things that they do for TAG. We also do projects outside the library for the community. This project was making No So Please hats that we then donated to Journeys. We got a nice little shout out from them. And again, we're creating these like tangible connections to the community through a variety of projects. Just this past Friday, we made these placemats and we're going to be giving those to Meals on Wheels. And we're doing this in collaboration with our teen volunteer group. So we're able to donate 180 placemats. And the tweens had a lot of fun doing weaving and decorating them as well. So these are just, I'll leave you with some words that they wrote on last year's evaluations. They said, we contribute to the community and have fun doing it. And I do feel more confident about myself for being a contributor in TAG. So hopefully all of these lovely pictures have shown that tweens thrive when they have the space to explore, create, and connect. And our library services are helping them build confidence, independence, and a sense of belonging. And all of the positive experiences that they're having now are laying the foundation for lifelong learning and engagement with the library. So thank you so much for your time and for listening. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, to try to think of it.
Wow, so impressive. I wish I was a tween and went to the how many tweens do you have in your advisory group? Like, is it the same number each month or do
Yeah. So we have a lot of consistency, but we also have like new kids coming in all the time. I just, for our last youth services meeting, like pulled some stats because we were talking about like upcoming year programming and I was like, what are my highest programs? They were all TAG. They were like 27 kids, 28 kids, 29 kids. So a lot of them are coming and coming back again, and they can come for 3 years. So many of them do continue on, which is so fun to see them kind of grow up in their time with TAG, and they kind of take on more leadership roles and have lots of opinions to share throughout the process.
So are they, I'm trying to think when my kids did like summer, when you're a summer reading helper, can you be that in sixth grade?
Not quite, when they finish sixth grade that summer,
Okay.
they can start.
So I'm guessing a lot of
Ninth grade
these
semester.
kids go on to do that.
Mhm. And
Yeah,
then we've just, in the past couple of years, created our MVP, which you'll hear all about teen stuff next time from Ale, but we've bridged the gap between our high school volunteer group and this volunteer group, so now they can kind of like, we don't lose them, they keep, the kids who are in tag can keep volunteering throughout middle school and high school as well.
nice. And obviously you're using Maker Place.
Yes, we are going there.
And you're using-
I actually have a program there tomorrow. We're doing a culinary program, Halloween candy. And we are still going there. We did recently purchase some sewing machines and Cricuts, so we are able to do a little bit more here. But we are always going there for culinary. Great.
When you do your programs here, then are you in literally in your space or do you use?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to do tag up in the Henderson room because we do like the parachute, like you saw from that
Yeah.
first slide. We did it in here in that meeting and it was like not enough room. So we like to have room to spread out, but I program like in the Lindsay room, in this room, and then we also do monthly like drop-in programs in the tween space so that kids could, if they're just like walking by, can join in the project.
Yeah. Great. It's very impressive. Thank you. Yes.
So as a parent of the sixth grade, I think it's just really important to see that, you know, you're starting to help with that transition to middle school, where, you know, as fourth and fifth graders, they are sort of starting with more independence, and then suddenly in sixth grade, in school, they're just sort of, yeah, thrown to the wolves, but, you know, a little bit. So I think that's super important. And I love to see that, and then also, I just happened to be at the Maker Place the day they were doing the hand rice. And I just remember like they got out and the kids were so excited to show their parents what they made and talk about it, and it's amazing. So, you know, we don't really have to pull back anymore.
Great.
So,
Right, I know, I love these like cooking and sewing, like they're not getting it in school, but we have the great resources to be able to provide it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was just, it just reminded. Oh yeah, I was there that.
Just smell the.
Yes.
And fun for them to be the big kids, like for the Halloween
Yeah.
program and other events, I'm sure.
I know, like, it's like a fourth grader and literally there's like a third grader there, they feel so like elevated and important, and they have these lanyards we wear to like identify them as volunteers, and we wear these at meetings, and then all of these badges are like the projects that they complete every time we finish a project at a meeting, they all get to make one. They really take pride in adding it to their lanyard along the way.
Do those volunteer hours count toward the total on the dashboard?
I do report them to Jennifer, like I take attendance and track.
I mean, they should.
So,
Yeah,
I think that they are
Okay,
a part of that,
Yeah.
they're considered.
Yeah, if they're being tracked and something.
yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This was fun. Well, it's not gonna be very exciting to follow that. Or finance. All right, well, so our next item, agenda is the adoption of our 2025 tax levy.
So I would invite Tracy, Sarah to join us at the table.
That's why I like finance, because you can see all of them, they're money and doing it, and we're happy to spend our money to do such. Thanks, right, that the services departments work on, it's very, very cool. Okay, so for the levy, no changes to what we discussed at the last two committee, the whole meetings around the levy, the schedule that is in your packet is prepared by the Village of Arlington Heights, since they're the ones who actually levy our taxes, for us under the terms of that intergovernmental agreement we have with them. The only change to the overall figure that we looked at last time was simply just to round the total to the nearest thousand. They like to do that. And then we split that total between kind of the big general portion and then IMRF and FICA, which is our social security and Medicare employer costs. So no change to the total besides the rounding, and then we just do those splits.
Does anyone have any questions? Before we make a motion, I just want to reiterate for anyone watching that hasn't seen our process before, this is probably the third time that we've talked through, or even more.
More if you're counting the targets.
Right.
Yeah.
For levy, so we do take it very seriously. We look at everything when we're determining whether or not to increase the levy. Obviously, we haven't done a referendum in, I don't know how long, but we take it very seriously. So if you have any questions about that and you're watching, please look at our previous meetings to see that. We always seem to come under budget in our expenditures. I think the library does an excellent job of managing expenditures. As I mentioned previously, for the last 5 years, we haven't gotten the tax money that we were anticipating. So that's a challenge for us because that's really our major revenue stream. So we have been able to build the maker place and we're almost done purchasing and paying for our new bookmobile, but we need to replenish our capital fund so that we don't ever have to do a referendum. So that's some of the feeling behind this budget. Obviously, like everybody else, things like, costs for everything we buy is going up, health insurance, commodities. So we need to be responsible about how we are spending tax dollars and we don't, we want to make sure we have enough to fund the great programming that we have and our staff. And also, just as a reminder, we still don't have the money from this year because Cook County property tax bills haven't gone out. So we need to keep money in our funds for when that happens so we can pay bills. And we have a policy that we keep between 35 and 70. 33 and 75% of our operating fund or operating expenses. So that if something comes up, we have money and we are well within that. So it's a good policy to have. All right. So with that, I would like a motion.
I move that the Board of Library Trustees adopts the 2025 tax levy in the amount of $3,812,000.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All right. I will say that trustee Burrell made the motion and trustee Meadow seconded the motion. May I have a roll call, please?
Can I just make one, I think we got one number off here in the estimated 2024 levy rates. I think it should be 0.4097. Sorry.
4097.
Yeah, I think.
I'll recalculate that and I'll let the village know, because again, this is their schedule.
Yeah, it is.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'll have to have them update it.
Yeah.
But there's another update
Yeah.
that trustee Samari noticed in that same column, the header of that column.
Oh, okay.
I believe should also say 2025.
Oh, right.
So yeah, so I appreciate both of those and I will definitely let the village finance director know to update those things. It shouldn't change the motion. I think the motion is for the
Yeah.
total levy amount.
No, we didn't.
So, yeah.
Put that in.
Okay,
But thank you.
so roll call, please.
Trustee Burrell,
Yes.
trustee Kelly,
Aye.
trustee McLeany,
Yes.
trustee Meadow,
Yes.
trustee Watts,
Yes.
president Samard.
Aye. All right. Now moving on to the adoption of our 2026 budget.
Yes, so for budget, again, very few changes, just the draft we last reviewed at the October committee of the whole. Just a quick note on format, the budget that you have in your board packets is now presented in the format that will be printed for our section of the published budget books. Otherwise, largely the same kind of layout as you've been reviewing in terms of like a budget summary first and then department level schedules following that. So that's, and then kind of multiple columns going across. So only two notable changes since the version we last reviewed at the COW. First, the budget wrap-up steps that we take every year, did uncover a formula error in one department's salary lines. That's good. That control is working, that part of the process. So we corrected that as part of our finalization. And then second, and partially offsetting this, we did, go ahead and make those adjustments to the budget for the balance of the bookmobile project. I think we talked, specifically at the meeting about the foundation piece, where they had committed to an additional 100,000 for next year. Foundation doesn't, run through our budget, so we just kind of subtracted that out. And then we did decide to include an estimate for Friends funding, which is consistent with how we do Friends budgeting. It's runs as like an in and an out for our budget. We don't really feel like a formal commitment necessarily to include it in the budget. You know, because we don't have all those wish list items at this time. So, so we're comfortable with doing this, but we did not, just so you know, include anything in the final budget for estimated revenue for selling the old bookmobile. That's not included in here. So if we get something next year for selling that, that would just be over and above anything we budgeted in terms of revenue, would be great. But not necessarily expecting it in terms of what's in the budget. But other than that, I have no changes. No, I will add, I did check to see if there was a final cost of living adjustment. It wasn't released yet. Usually it is. It's a little delayed from previous years. It's coming next week, I think. But all the projections are consistent with what we assumed in here. So I don't expect any changes. So we feel comfortable with leaving it as is.
I have a question regarding, the verbiage, and it's really just because our, treasurer, Sarah Gallo, will present this to the village board. And I have a feeling that a question might come up, what additional programming? So do you have additional programming that you would like to, like in her, just in her verbal presentation to them highlight? Because in here, it's, you know, we have a few bullet points, but I think they'll probably ask.
Yeah, we'll work with her
Okay.
to identify
Okay.
those things and their specifics.
Right, and do we have a month that we would push the I mean, we'll be celebrating our 100th anniversary all year, I assume. Do you know if there's a specific?
Sasha, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, the timeline as of right now is that it would kick off in April, and like the prime celebrating would be through August.
Okay,
Would we have any sort of celebrations over that month, any sort of other special promotions would be during that time,
right,
and then starting September will go back to our.
right. Again, I think that would be a question they would ask. And in terms of services needs assessment, that is, does that relate to the first floor or just in general?
No, that's first floor.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
layout.
Right,
How we're
Okay.
utilizing services there.
okay. All right,
Sure, no, so it's that.
yeah. Any other questions?
You don't have to have an answer for this now, but do you have an estimate, like, are they giving any updates on the bookmobile? Are we still tracking to?
We are, I've not heard otherwise, that, so we're probably, I'm guessing, second quarter next year.
Okay.
We've been kind of just picking certain, like flooring and colors and some of that stuff. But yeah, that's what we're on.
Awesome.
All right. All right, I would take a motion.
I move that the Board of Library Trustees adopts the 2026 Arlington Heights Memorial Library budget.
And a second.
Second.
All right, so the motion was made by trustee Watts and seconded by trustee McLean. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell,
Yes.
trustee Kelly,
Aye.
trustee McLean. Yes. Trustee Meadow,
Yes.
trustee Watts,
Yes.
president Sewell.
Aye. And again, for those watching, we have gone over this very much with a fine tooth comb. You can see all the documents online. Thank you. All right, new business.
Nothing for new.
Nothing for new business. How about other?
I just have a couple things in other, just wanted to let you know that the ILA 2025 library legislative meetups are scheduled. There's one coming up December 3rd in Northrop. So I would encourage you to attend if you're available. It's a breakfast. If you need assistance signing up for that, you can sign up through your ILA account, but you could just contact Janet. We'll get you signed up if you need assistance with that. Also, just a reminder that we have the joint breakfast with the Park District this Saturday, in this room. I think doors open at 8:30.
Eat
Eight.
breakfast.
8 o'clock for breakfast, meeting starts at 8:30?
Yep.
Meeting starts at 8:30. And wanted to just kind of show some pictures of the construction that's happening upstairs, give you an update on that. Second, well,
While that's pulling up, I will say that, like almost every trustee session I went to mentioned the legislative meetup. And so if you can go, it's worth it.
yeah, it's really a great opportunity to get in front of legislators and, hear what's happening in Springfield and be able to ask questions. Okay, so just wanted to share some pictures of the construction. We are in phase 2 right now, so the blue section is complete. We have kept the second floor, parts of the second floor, like the study rooms, unavailable to the public right now because we're utilizing those study rooms for the staff that are in the green section, which is the phase that we're in currently. So that's HR, finance, there's a few managers, Dana, our deputy director, and I think that's about everybody. So they've been shifted around. They're in the study rooms as our office right now, and then we'll be opening that at the end of this month. Things are going very well, on schedule. Might even be slightly ahead of schedule. I don't want to say that too loud, but it's going really well. So here is a couple of areas that are complete. So at our last time I showed you pictures, on the left, that was the condition of the lobby outside of the Hendrickson room, and on the right is what it looks like now. So as you notice, new carpeting, new ceiling tiles, new lighting. It looks beautiful. So just to kind of give you an idea of what that is looking like. Here is the admin hallway. As you can see, ceiling was totally torn out. Lighting's been replaced, ceiling's been replaced, new carpeting. This is our staff lounge. So again, went through LED lighting, new ceiling, and then new furniture, and it really just looks so clean and fresh. It's very nice. This is the Hendrickson room kitchen. So last time we met, I had a picture like the one on the left, showing all the old cabinetry torn out. On the right is the new cabinetry. That flooring is the vinyl tile, like what we have out in Kids World in certain areas in the Lindsay room. So we're carrying that same tile throughout. So that also new ceiling, new lighting, where we have a new refrigerator coming also. And instead of putting upper cabinets in, we decided to put a stainless shelf in, like what we have over at the Maker Place. We find it just to be more useful. The cabinets are okay, but they just kind of collect things, and so we thought this would be a better use of the space. And then this is the current phase that we're in. On the left is the west admin hallway, so kind of back by HR and finance and some of those administrative offices. So the carpet is gone. The ceiling has been replaced already. The lighting has been replaced, again, LED lighting. We did a little bit different style in the administrative area with the lighting, and so that's a little bit different. The 2x2s are a little bit different. And then the picture on the right is the staff restrooms. This is the 2 administrative restrooms, is what they currently look like. We also did redo the restroom in the staff restroom back by our IT area, and then one of them down by drive up. Those 2 are complete. And then the second one down by drive up is being done now, as well as the 2 of the administration. So they're all getting that same treatment that we gave the public restrooms last year, and they look really good. They're coming along quite nicely. And then these are a couple of offices upstairs. The office on the right did not get a new ceiling or lighting because that was done about 10 or 12 years ago when we did the renovation upstairs, when we reconfigured things. So that office just got new carpeting. They did get updated light bulbs in there when we did the LED update. So it's the same kind of lighting as in here. So those are LED now. And then the office on the left, new ceiling, new lighting, and then it's waiting on carpet once we put the ceiling tiles in. So that's going on. And then this is the reason why we're down here tonight. This is the boardroom. So, the ceiling is complete, new grid, new tile. They put in the new can lighting around the border. They will get, a couple of new pendant lights that are gonna hang over the table. They're a little bit more, I guess, contemporary, than what we had there. And then we're replacing the projection system with a television, because of the view of the projector to the screen. The new pendant lights would interrupt that. So we'll be putting a TV there instead. And so that's kind of where we're at now. We're on schedule to finish by the end of the month. Then we'll be opening up these spaces again. We'll be doing the changeover to the next section, which is the yellow section. So that's my office, Sasha's office, Trixie's office, and then Janet's office, and then Megan's. So we're gonna be moving into different areas. We're gonna open up the study rooms, I think, but we're gonna move into like maybe the staff training room, a couple other spots. And that space will be updated. And then, go ahead.
Anderson room will be open for the book sale
It will.
with friends.
Yes, perfect. Yep.
Okay. Cut it close.
Yeah, I know. All in the plan, it's all in the plan. The one thing that we changed kind of midstream or maybe early on was this emergency exit, and that's the reason why we didn't want to open the Hendrickson room yet, because we wanted to make sure that the emergency exit was available once we do open it. That got changed into the green section because during the blue section, we use this as our staff lounge. We wanted people to use that stairway for to be able to access. So then we'll end in the red area. This will be a lot of staff that will be actually like departments will be moved. So info services, programs and exhibits and communications and marketing. So we have spots for them during that time. So we're planning to wrap up December 19th. I don't see any reason why we couldn't do that. It's been going very well. We're hitting the targets and staying right on schedule.
But the study rooms will be open before that.
Yes.
So, yeah, just so I understand, 'cause I know a couple people asking, so
Yeah.
the plan is to reopen, like, sort of the blue area by the end of this month.
That's the plan, yes. Well, probably not by the end of this month, because once that green section is done, then we'll need a couple days to move staff back to their offices. Once we pass inspection and everything, and then we'll open them.
So is it safe to say like mid-November?
Oh, yeah, I think that's safe, right?
Okay.
So,
goal.
that's our goal. Yeah, I hate to say any date, you know, with
Yeah.
construction, because things change,
That's
but
been kind of.
that's what we're projecting.
November.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. So, good question.
How has the inspection process been with the village?
It's been good. It's been fine. We had, you know, just some things with existing network cabling, that was kind of sitting on the grid. And the sprinkler pipes and stuff that we had to come back and elevate, but besides that, I think they've been pretty good with, yeah. So. Any questions about construction?
It's good.
In person.
Yeah, I think,
That'll be fun.
It's really
And
nice.
I'm sure staff will be happy to get back to their regular schedules. All right, I had a couple others. One, I went on Monday of the ILA conference week to the AI portion of the conference where our executive director did 2 presentations on AI. It was really interesting to see how different people and different ways that you can use it. It made me think. They did a live presentation, which I thought was very cool and also could be very scary if it didn't go well, but the woman who did that with you, I thought was fabulous. They took survey data and like showed you how the AI could just, not just do the summary, but summarize the comments, and she showed how to make sure that it was accurate. Anyway, it was very fascinating for me. I'm not in that world at all. It also made me think that maybe we could do that with some of our surveys, because AI did it like that, and I'm sure it takes staff time. Anyway, you did a very good job.
thank you. We also had a number of other staff present.
Yeah, we sure
throughout,
did,
so
and
we had a very good presence there.
White, what is it called? The whiteboards at lunch.
Poster session.
Poster sessions, and I'm always reminded how excellent our library is because I feel like we do a lot of what these libraries do, although there were some, you know, interesting presentations. The speakers I thought were inspiring, the days that I saw, really interesting. So yeah, that was fabulous. I know that the American ALA, the American Library Association Conference is in Chicago this year, June 25th through 29th at McCormick. So put that on your calendar and see if you can carve out a day or so. I was joking before that it's on the weekend. These librarians don't want to give themselves time off during the middle of the week. There's some on Friday and Monday, I think. And then we have a big retirement tomorrow. There's a retirement celebration for our bookmobile driver, Ron, and our bookmobile guru. His last day is Thursday, so if you're around tomorrow or Thursday, be sure to wish him well. I'm sure his wife will have a honey-do list for him. So that is all I have. Anyone else?
Yes, I did want to mention, well, first of all, SMC, who does the construction, is one of our valued members of my trade association, so awesome that they're ahead of schedule, love to hear it. And speaking of my trade association, in one of our board meetings, we had also discussed, we always remind them about the Illinois mandated sexual harassment training. So as an association staff, you know, I coordinated for our staff. And we keep the little certificates on file in case, you know, something happens or audited. But we always bring it up to our board to make sure that they're doing it and that their companies are doing it, particularly if also if they have to do the separate city of Chicago mandate that started a couple of years ago, if they do work in the city. And we also let them know that if they don't have a platform that we can help them, but you know, they usually do with their own company. So it just got me thinking as a board, I know you all comply with that. Do we have a mechanism of ensuring that the board does it as well? And what is the status to of any other volunteers besides the board that volunteer for the library that are, you know, in contact with the public and?
As far as I know, we just have staff do it, but I would want to defer to my HR manager who's not here. this
Yeah, I
evening.
don't know if it's required for the board.
I don't think it
We don't
is.
do it at the boards don't do it at Guilford.
Yeah, I think it's just required for staff,
For staff.
Okay,
yeah. So, but I'll verify that.
I mean, they talked about it at the trustee meeting, or at our trustee lunch, they said.
they said something about it like in passing with the policies and it got me
Four
thinking.
policies that we are, the four, I don't know,
Required
learning
policies.
things that we're supposed to, you know, we learn about open meetings, we learn about, FOIA.
Sexual harassment.
Yeah, so sexual harassment was one that they, at that trustee luncheon, talked
Also
about.
said it was fairly recent though, but it, like, so the.
But then I think we asked
They
you.
said it was like within the last 2 years that they made it, like, it was more required for boards, but it hadn't been previously, so it's worth.
Yeah,
Yes.
we definitely look into it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because then we were talking about it.
Module, and it's very exciting.
It's like an hour, you have to do it for an hour,
Right.
right, but then I think trustee Watts said that she did it when she
I
did
did,
orientation, but I didn't.
well, I did it through my own work.
Oh, we didn't do
and
it this, I'm sorry, I thought you
Yeah,
said you did it for this.
Yeah, Christine McClaney had done it through
You're
through here. But they did say in the session that we were at, that you could count what you did at work. So I
Right.
had sent it over here in case anyone wanted it for the records.
Right, so that's my point, if
Mostly
someone
because
is,
they go back for 2 more hours.
Right.
and if needed on file, if anyone that doesn't do it through like a separate work. I just wanna make sure that we're in compliance, cause we are with, you know, the public and kids and different things, I
Right.
wouldn't want any kind of. Someone coming in
Yeah.
and bringing a suit to something and then they say that, you know, we didn't go through the training on behalf of the library. So I'll just.
Yeah, we'll
sure
verify.
if we did, and if we need to forward something, you know, happy to do that, just wanna make sure that we check that off if need be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll verify that.
Okay.
Once you- we can get some changes.
all right, Mike and I are going to a foundation event on Thursday night, sort of their update on their fundraising and, so that'll be interesting. I think they probably have some changes in their board as well coming up, so. All right. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn? Second? Second, all right, that was made by trustee Burrell, seconded by trustee McLeany, and all in favor,